Hi guys, how are you today? Tonight, we will journey back in time to an age of great challenge, resilience, and ingenuity. An age where survival was a constant struggle against the forces of nature. Imagine yourself in the long, cold nights of the Viking Age, nestled in a sturdy wooden hut, the warmth of a fire crackling in the hearth, while the icy winds howl just beyond the thick walls. If you're as excited as we are to dive into this captivating journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more adventures into the past. Let's uncover the mysteries of the Viking together. Hit that bell icon too, so you're always first in line for the next historical adventure. As we drift through this historical landscape, the rhythm of their lives unfolds slowly, like a gentle lullaby. You'll hear of their strategies, their quiet triumphs, and their battles, not against people, but against the relentless winter that shaped their world. Allow the soft pull of the past to guide you through this tranquil exploration of how the Vikings survived the coldest nights of the year. With each segment, we will immerse ourselves in their daily lives, touch upon the larger events that defined their survival, uncover the mysteries of their lost practices, and examine the contrasting lives of the elite and common folk. Take a deep breath and allow your thoughts to wander with the rhythm of the seasons. And as we begin, let the quiet persistence of their survival against the cold lull you deeper into relaxation. Let us begin the first segment. The sun has barely risen, and the world outside is still shrouded in the icy silence of a Nordic winter. The snow, as white as untouched parchment, sparkles in the early morning light. A pale, soft blue sky stretches over the frozen landscape. It is the stillness that permeates everything: the air, the earth, the houses. A soft plume of smoke rises from the chimneys of Viking longhouses. It is the kind of stillness that you can almost hear, silent, peaceful, and cold. The winter sky is pale, a soft powder blue that seems to stretch endlessly, meeting the horizon with no clear line. Snow falls in gentle swirls, drifting softly to the ground, covering everything in a serene, untouched blanket. The world outside is still and vast. A deep, tranquil silence hangs in the air. Now, picture the Viking village nestled in the distance. Smoke curls up from the chimneys of longhouses, spiraling in slow, soft patterns, dissipating into the crisp, cold air. You can hear the distant howl of the wind, but inside the longhouse there is warmth and comfort. The hearth in the centre of the house is alive with flame. It crackles quietly, its warmth a lifeline in the frigid landscape. The shadows flicker and dance on the walls, painting ancient symbols and runes that have witnessed countless winters. Here, in this warmth, the Viking people find their refuge, against the cold, against the wind, against the endless night. The longhouse, more than just a shelter, is a sanctuary. Its thick wooden walls stand firm against the biting winds, and its steep, sloping roof sheds the heavy weight of snow as quickly as it falls. The roofline, crafted with such care, directs the snow to slide off, ensuring that no matter how harsh the storm, the house remains standing. Inside, the longhouse is simple but warm. The floor is made of packed earth, smooth and worn by the generations of Viking feet that have crossed it. Along the walls, woven tapestries hang like memories of a time long past. These tapestries, created from wool and thread, depict the gods, the animals of the land, and the battles fought in the name of honor. The tapestries are not just decorations, they are stories, woven into the very fabric of Viking life. In the center of the room, the hearth burns brightly, its warmth touching every corner. The fire is alive, crackling softly, flickering as the logs break apart. The heat from the flames reaches the people who gather near, bringing them closer together in warmth, in spirit, in connection. The fire is the lifeblood of the longhouse, the heart of the Viking home. Without it, there would be no warmth, no light, no life. The Viking winter wardrobe is a study in practicality and ingenuity. Wool, the gift of the sheep, was woven into thick tunics that clung to the body like a second skin. These tunics were made for more than just covering the body. They were made to protect, to insulate against the unforgiving cold. As the fire crackles in the background, you can imagine the sensation of wool against your skin. It's thick, but not uncomfortable. It's the kind of fabric that traps warmth while still allowing the body to breathe. Underneath the wool, Vikings often wore simple linen undergarments, light and breathable, to wick away the sweat that could make one cold in the damp of the winter. Above the tunic, the Vikings wore sheepskin cloaks. These cloaks were not just pieces of clothing, they were shields against the wind, against the cold, against the elements. The sheepskin was thick and heavy, but soft on the inside. The fleece of the sheep, dense and insulating, helped trap heat close to the body. On the outside, the smooth leather kept the cold from penetrating. Each cloak was made with care, sewn by the hands of skilled artisans. They were worn with pride, draped over the shoulders like a protective mantle. As you sit by the fire, you can feel the warmth of the sheepskin against your back, the softness of the fleece cocooning you in a gentle embrace. The world outside may be bitterly cold, but here, inside the longhouse, the warmth is all-encompassing. Now, as you sit by the hearth, the fire becomes more than just a source of warmth. It is a presence, a companion. The flames flicker and sway, sending shadows dancing across the walls. You can hear the soft crackling of the logs as they break apart, sending small sparks into the air. The heat is steady, comforting. It fills the longhouse, spreading through the air, making everything feel soft and at ease. The hearth is not merely for warmth, it is where the Vikings come together. This fire is their centre, their gathering place. It's where stories are told, where food is prepared, where life unfolds in its simplest, most enduring forms. The eldest among them might be sitting closest to the fire, tending to the flames, while children scamper about, their laughter rising with the heat of the flames. The fire is also a reminder of the Vikings' deep connection to the earth and the natural world. It is the fire of survival, of sustenance, of continuity. It is what allows them to endure the long winters, to live through the harshest months. The flame, ever dancing, ever alive, is as much a part of their existence as the snow outside. Outside, the wind howls, but inside there is only quiet. The roof of the longhouse is steeply pitched to allow the heavy snow to slide off, its design an elegant solution to a constant threat. The snow that gathers on the roof is not a burden, it is merely a temporary visitor, destined to slip away as easily as it came. Above you, the wooden beams of the roof are supported by sturdy supports. These beams, while practical in function, are also carved with runes and symbols that speak to the Viking belief in the divine. The craftsmanship is remarkable, a testament to the care and skill of the builders. These beams are the bones of the house, holding it together, providing strength and stability against the storms outside. The roof itself is covered in layers of thatch, sod, or wooden shingles, materials sourced from the surrounding landscape. These materials, though simple, were chosen with great care, each selected for its durability and insulating properties. The thatch and sod work together to trap heat inside, ensuring that the warmth from the fire can stay within, even as the temperature outside plummets. Viking clothing is a masterclass in the art of layering. Beneath the woolen tunic and sheepskin cloak, Vikings wore a series of undergarments designed to keep the body warm and dry. These garments, often made from linen or wool, would sit close to the skin, wicking away moisture to ensure that the body could maintain a constant temperature. The garments would be layered in such a way that warmth was always kept close, while the outer layers acted as shields against the cold. It was a system that worked in harmony, with each piece of clothing serving a unique function. The wool tunic, soft yet resilient, would trap heat close to the body. The sheepskin cloak, heavy and insulating, would protect the wearer from the wind. And then, of course, there were the hats and mittens, small but essential parts of the winter wardrobe. The hats, made from knitted wool or lined with fur, would fit snugly over the head, ensuring that no warmth escaped. The mittens, worn over woolen gloves, were lined with fur to keep the hands warm as well. The longhouse is more than just a physical space. It is a place of gathering, of warmth, and of family. The Viking family is close-knit, bound together not only by blood but by necessity. In the dead of winter, the strength of the family unit is tested, but it is also nurtured. Together they are stronger. Together they survive. Outside, the snow drapes itself across the land like a silent quilt. No wind stirs. It is a day meant for staying indoors. Inside the longhouse, warmth gathers like a second skin. The fire hums softly in its stone hearth, and the wooden walls glow amber in its light. The family moves slowly, no rush. The grandmother rises early, coaxing the fire from sleep. Her hands, calloused but tender, know this ritual by heart. Others stir quietly, pulling on woolen tunics, wrapping thick cloaks over shoulders, tucking little feet into sheepskin boots. Children huddle close to the fire, their cheeks pink, their hands wrapped around wooden bowls of barley porridge. A father adds dried fruit from the summer stores, and the sweet scent mingles with wood smoke. There is no chatter, only soft spoons and crackling logs. Midday brings humble tasks. Women spin wool into thread, rhythm steady and unhurried. A child learns to sew, mimicking her mother's hands. Men carve or mend tools, their work quiet, purposeful. A toddler drags a carved toy in slow circles. Even the play is calm here. As light fades early, the family gathers again, wrapped in furs, sharing stew from a shared pot. An elder tells an old story of gods and frost giants, of lost hammers and clever tricks. The children listen, eyes wide. Shadows from the fire dance across the beams above. By nightfall, the longhouse softens. Lamps flicker low. The baby sleeps curled beside her mother. A father hums quietly, not a song, just comfort. They lie close, warmed by each other more than fire. Outside, winter waits, but inside, the family dreams in peace. The quiet art of keeping hunger at bay. Winter in the Viking world was not a season to conquer. It was something to wait through, to outlast. Food was not a daily indulgence. It was preparation, patience, and care made edible. In the stillness of deep snow and short days, every meal was a small triumph. Preservation was not a choice, it was survival. And yet, there is no sense of panic in these practices. Only rhythm, the slow, deliberate pulse of a people who listened closely to the land and its seasons. Long before the first frost kissed the thatched rooftops, the work of feeding the winter had already begun. In warmer months, the Norse spent their days gathering, not in haste, but in sequence. Fish pulled from rivers and fjords were laid out on racks near the shore, salted gently, and dried in the sun. The salty wind from the sea helped the flesh stiffen into preservation. You can imagine it now, the soft flap of fish skin in the breeze, the faint scent of brine carried inland. The work was quiet, heads bowed, hands practiced. This was food not for now, but for the long nights to come. Elsewhere, slabs of lamb or goat were hung in smokehouses, slow smoked over smouldering coals, their skins turning golden brown. Smoke curled up through gaps in the wooden slats, mingling with the scent of pine and moss. The meat took on the flavour of the forest. It would wait patiently in its wrapping of smoke until winter called for it. Even simple vegetables, onions, leeks, and cabbages, were buried in barrels of straw and soil, protected from the frost. Root cellars dug into the earth held the weight of summer, sleeping just below the frozen world above. Inside the longhouse there was no pantry, no shining shelf of glass jars or stocked cupboards. Storage looked like barrels lined in the shadows, sacks of grain hung high to stay dry, and bundles of dried herbs tied to the beams above the hearth. The meals were not grand. They were nourishing, hot, filling, a ladle into warmth. Stews were the heart of winter cooking. A clay pot, kept near the fire, was rarely empty. Into it went whatever was at hand, bits of dried meat softened in water, root vegetables cut into thick rounds, handfuls of dried beans or barley. The longer it simmered, the better it tasted. There was no strict recipe, only instinct in what remained. A splash of whey, a pinch of salt, crumbled herbs from last summer's gathering. Bread, when it could be made, was dense and coarse, flat, sometimes charred, cooked on stones beside the fire. The flour might be barley or rye, ground roughly by hand with stone. A small pat of butter, churned before the freeze, softened just enough to spread. They did not feast every night, but they were not hungry. The goal was not indulgence. It was warmth and fuel, something to fill the belly and soften the cold inside. Much of what lasted the winter never touched the fire. Fermentation was its own quiet magic. In wooden barrels lined with linen, cabbage leaves turned sour and soft. The sharp tang of lactic acid preserved them well into spring. These sour things were valued, sharp flavours to cut through the sameness of porridge and broth. Milk, when still available, became cheese, not creamy, but firm, pressed and salted, wrapped in cloth and stored in cold corners. Whey, the byproduct, was used too, added to breads, or drunk in place of fresh water. Even meat could be preserved without smoke, buried in salt, turned every few days, hung high in airy sheds, away from moisture and animals. It would grow tougher with time, but it would not spoil. Nothing was wasted. Fat was rendered into lard, used for cooking, or stored in clay jars. Bones were boiled twice, 3 times, until even the marrow gave up its sustenance. In the coldest hours, the family might sip something warm. Not tea, but a broth, clear, savoury, made from bones or roots. Held in carved cups, it warmed the fingers as much as the body. A reminder that even small warmths could be sacred. Children drank it slowly, cheeks pink from the fire. Elders cradled their bowls without hurry. The steam rose like breath into the rafters. Sometimes, on feast days or holy nights, something richer might appear. A bowl of dried berries softened in hot water, sweetened with a little honey saved from summer's hive. But such things were rare, precious, meant to be savoured, not devoured. There is a kind of peace in the way the Vikings prepared for hunger. Their winter food was not dramatic. It was honest, measured, intimate. They trusted the land, trusted the work of their hands, and they trusted the fire. They didn't waste, they didn't rush. They preserved because they knew the cold was long and that every bite, come January, had once been gathered under a July sun. Each meal was a memory, each stored root has a promise. And so they endured, quietly, together. The winter world outside the longhouse is an endless stretch of white, the kind of white that makes everything feel still. The landscape is quiet, no voices, no rustle of leaves, only the soft crunch of snow beneath boots. Even the wind, which normally howls across the tundra, is subdued. It blows softly, brushing the frozen earth, and for a moment, everything seems to hold its breath. In the Viking world, movement during winter is careful, deliberate. There is no rush. The cold demands respect. Every step, every task is done with thoughtfulness, with awareness. The snow does not hinder Viking movement, it shapes it. Skis, made from long, smooth planks of wood, slide across the snow with ease. These skis, light but strong, were crafted with care by skilled hands. They were not mere sports but necessity. For the Viking people, they were not just for hunting or travel, they were lifelines. The glide of the ski is almost silent. You can imagine the quiet rhythm of a single person moving across the snow, each step deliberate, each push of the pole guiding them forward. The world around them is vast and empty, yet there is a profound sense of purpose in this solitary movement. The skis carve through the snow in an almost meditative way, as if becoming part of the winter landscape itself. Beside the skier, a sled is pulled, another essential tool for survival. It holds what needs to be carried, perhaps firewood, perhaps the tools of the hunt. On the snow, it slides effortlessly, pulled by the skier's steady movements. The sled does not hurry. It simply moves, in time with the world around it. For the Viking people, hunting was not a frantic chase but a patient waiting, a slow unfolding of the world around them. In winter, hunting took on a different rhythm. The snow-covered landscape hides the tracks of the deer, reindeer, and elk that roam this land. The hunter must learn to read these signs. Each mark, each print left in the snow, tells a story. The hunt requires stillness. The hunter moves carefully, slowly, like the snow itself. No loud calls, no sudden movements. The animal must not know they are there. Every step is taken with the quietest of intentions. The hunter becomes part of the landscape, as much a part of the trees and snow as the very earth beneath their feet. In the coldest parts of the day, when the light is thin and pale, the Viking hunter may find a quiet spot to wait, perched atop a hill or behind a snowdrift. There they wait, in silence. The stillness is their ally. Time slows, and every breath taken is measured and soft. It is not just the body that must be patient, the mind must be patient too. The wild creatures of the forest, deer, reindeer, and other animals, are not enemies to the Viking people, but rather distant neighbours. There is a respect, unspoken but present, for these creatures that roam the same land. The hunt begins long before the first steps are taken on the snow. There is no rush. There is only careful preparation. The hunter is not in a hurry to meet the forest. The forest, after all, has existed far longer than the hunter. To step into its rhythm is an art that takes patience and a quiet understanding. The hunter wears layers of wool, each piece carefully chosen to insulate against the cold, without restricting movement. The wool, rough against the skin, is made soft only by time and use. The fur cloak that rests on the hunter's shoulders is a gift from the land itself, its thick pelts woven into warmth. The leather boots, worn and broken in, keep the feet dry as they sink into the snow. These are the tools that connect the hunter to the earth beneath. The bow is strung carefully, the string tested for tension. The arrows, each one made with precision, are examined in silence. They will be the instruments of a quiet, inevitable exchange. The hunter does not wish for this to be dramatic, only necessary. A steady breath is taken, and then the hunter steps outside. The world outside is vast, but the hunt is always done with a focus so narrow it becomes all-encompassing. The hunter looks for tracks, small, almost imperceptible marks left behind in the snow. A deer's hoof, light and almost delicate, is pressed into the earth in a soft arc. The hunter bends low, inspecting the trail. It is the first language of the forest. Every step the deer has taken is now a clue, a quiet whisper from the earth. The hunter follows the trail with patience, each movement deliberate and slow. There is no rush. This is not a race. The tracks may curve, weaving through trees and over rocky outcroppings, and the hunter follows. The snow is soft beneath their feet, and each step is carefully placed. No crunching of the snow, no loud movements. Silence is the ally, and it must be respected. The breath comes slow and steady, warm against the cold air, condensing in front of the hunter's face. The hunter does not chase. They wait. The snow-covered world is their ally, and the animals too move with a... Instead, the hunter waits at the edge of the forest, or in a hollow between two hills. There, they sit. And they listen. And they wait. The world outside is ever-changing, but in the stillness of the hunt, time seems to stop. The snow falls softly, and the air grows still. Each passing moment stretches longer, becoming its own thing. The hunter is aware of everything: the soft flutter of snowflakes, the steady breath of their own body, the faint rustle of branches in the distance. Everything is a part of the whole. Everything speaks the same quiet language. The hunter's eyes scan the trees. The ears listen for the faintest sound of movement, the rustle of fur against bark, the soft tapping of hooves in the distance. The deer do not hurry. They move with the land, taking their time to forage, to wander, to listen. Then, there is a pause. A stillness in the air that feels heavier, more expectant. The hunter feels it before they see it, the shift in the land, the subtle quiet that tells them the time has come. The deer is near. It is there, just beyond the trees, stepping cautiously from the forest's cover. The world narrows, the hunter's focus sharpens. Their breath, once steady and slow, now stills, like the land itself. But there is no rush. There is no frantic motion. The hunter's body remains calm. The bow is drawn with a soft, practiced movement. The arrow is steady in the hand, as much a part of the hunter as the earth beneath their feet. The deer steps forward. It does not know the hunter is there. It does not know that its path has brought it into the quiet presence of another life. The hunter's heart beats, but slowly. The pulse of life is calm. The tension of the moment is not one of fear, but of understanding. When the moment comes, it is almost unnoticeable. The bowstring hums softly, the arrow flying through the air with a whisper. There is no dramatic rush, no loud sound, only the smooth, inevitable motion of the body moving in harmony with the land. The deer falls silently, and the snow around it remains unchanged. The world does not seem to react. It simply goes on. The hunter moves quietly to where the animal lies. There is no joy in the kill, only a deep, steady reverence. The hunter kneels beside the deer, their hands gentle, respectful. This life, taken to sustain another, is not something to be celebrated loudly. It is a necessary act, one performed with deep understanding and quiet gratitude. The hunter, now with their catch, turns toward the longhouse. The sled, prepared for such moments, is ready to carry the bounty back. The hunter's movements are slow, deliberate. Each step in the snow is another part of the journey. There is no need to hurry. The snow, now growing deeper. The return to the longhouse is quiet, but not lonely. The hunter's heart is full, not with pride, but with the calm knowledge that the land has given what is needed. As they reach the warmth of the longhouse, the fire crackles. The family gathers around the warmth, their eyes lighting up, not just with hunger, but with gratitude. The deer, now prepared, will feed them through the coldest of months. And outside the snow continues to fall, soft, quiet, eternal. As the winter solstice arrives, the Vikings gather around the hearth. The days are short and the nights long. Inside the longhouse, the fire burns softly, casting a warm glow on the faces of those gathered. The preparations for Yule are simple. A quiet meal is shared, stews, bread, and roasted vegetables. The air fills with the warmth of family, the comforting scent of food, and the soft light of candles. There is no rush, no excitement, just a gentle recognition of the season's arrival. A time to honor warmth, togetherness, and the passing of another year. In the calm of the evening, the hum of quiet songs fills the air. A simple melody played on a lyre, the soft rhythm of hands on bowls. The music is not loud, but is felt in the gentle pulse of the room. The voices of the family blend together in quiet harmony, not for performance, but for the comfort of shared company. This is not the music of grand feasts, but of simple, honest joy, a reminder that true celebration comes from being together. As the night deepens, the elders share stories of gods and heroes. The children listen quietly, their faces lit by the flickering firelight. The stories are not dramatic, but are woven with memories of the past. They are told with reverence, each word marking the passing of time, connecting generations. There is no hurry in the telling. Each tale is a thread in the larger fabric of family history, a quiet passing of wisdom from one generation to the next. As the evening winds down, the family rests. There is no rush to finish or leave. Some stretch out by the fire, others curl under furs, and a few quietly clean the bowls from the meal. Time stretches gently, unhurried, with every action slow and deliberate. The children drift to sleep, the elder members settle in with their thoughts, and the longhouse grows quieter still. In these moments, the true warmth is not just from the fire, but from the closeness shared in the silence. As the fire dies down and the last embers glow softly, the longhouse is filled with peaceful sleep. The snow continues to fall outside, but inside, the warmth remains. There is no need for grand gestures. The night is complete in its quiet peace. As the family rests together, knowing that the simple act of being together is enough to fill the heart. Winter nights are long in the Viking world, and with each passing hour, the sky grows darker. The world outside is silent, still, but within the longhouse, time seems to stretch. It is during these long nights that the Viking people turn inward, reflecting not only on the present, but on the past. Through the stories they tell, and the myths they share. The warmth of the fire is a backdrop to these quiet reflections. The hearth flickers softly, casting gentle shadows across the walls, while outside, the night sky, clear and vast, stretches beyond the land. In these still moments, the gods themselves come to life, not as distant, all-powerful beings, but as figures who walk the same path of struggle, love, and loss. Thor, with his hammer, is not just a warrior. He is a protector who knows what it is to fight for the safety of others. Odin, with his one eye, is not only a god of wisdom, but one who sacrifices, who seeks understanding even at great personal cost. These gods are not only figures of legend, they are reflections of the human spirit. They are part of the same quiet world the Vikings live in, sharing in its hardships, triumphs, and reflections. In the stories, the gods are not removed from the world, but are woven into it. The lessons they bring are not grandiose. They are simple and filled with quiet wisdom. Alongside the gods, the myths tell of nature's eternal cycles, of wolves who chase the sun, of the winds that shift with the changing seasons, of the stars that guide the way. The Vikings do not see nature as something separate from themselves. They see it as a companion, a force they work with, not against. There is peace in this understanding. The earth is not to be tamed. It is simply to be lived with, in quiet harmony. The myths remind the Vikings of their place in the world, not as rulers, but as part of a greater whole. The hunt, the land, the sky, all are sacred, and all are intertwined. The night outside is still and cold, but inside there is warmth. The longhouse, now filled with the quiet sounds of breathing and rest, is a sanctuary. The myths have been shared, the lessons passed down, and the family, in their togetherness, have found peace. As the final embers flicker in the hearth, the night stretches on, calm and certain. The world outside is vast, but inside, the warmth of shared stories, quiet wisdom and family is enough. When the hunt is over and the sled is laden with the spoils of the forest, the return to the longhouse begins. The journey home is not hurried. There is no race against time. The snow is deep, and each step is deliberate, even as the hunter feels the weight of the catch on their sled. With each glide of the ski, each pull of the sled, there is a quiet sense of fulfillment. The hunter's steps are no longer as cautious as when they set out. There is a softening, a return to the comfort of the familiar. The home is not far away now. The world feels different on the return. The silence of the wilderness seems more like a companion than a challenge. The snow, which earlier seemed cold and indifferent, now feels like a blanket of peace. When the hunter finally returns, the longhouse is waiting, warm and inviting. The fire crackles softly, sending a comforting glow across the room. The family gathers in silence, their hands reaching for the warmth of the hearth. The spoils of the hunt are laid out, meat, hides, bones, and all. It is food, yes, but it is also something more. It is the tangible result of the slow, deliberate rhythm of winter life. As the food is prepared, shared, and eaten, there is no grand celebration. There is only a quiet acknowledgement of the work it took to survive another day. There is peace in this, a peace that comes from being part of the land, of the world, and of the family that shares it all. Outside, the snow continues to fall, each flake settling gently like a soft breath on the earth. And the longhouse, now full of warmth and quiet joy, settles into the stillness of another winter night. Thank you for joining us. Rest well, take care of your beautiful self, whatever that means to you. And until next time, good night.